So today, let's focus about career competences for future industries, for Industry 4.0 and 5.0. Honestly, if I will say that I really can predict the future, or anyone can say that we can predict the future, it will be a lie. It is not true. We can't predict the future. We can't predict what exactly will be required for the future. But what we can really understand about the future is changing. Future is uncertain. Future is chaotic. And I would like to say one very important thing about the future. The future is related to innovation. Let's step back and let's go to pre-industrial times, yes? In the pre-industrial times, when first industrial revolution just came, yes, across, what happened? Like steam engines were invented, yes? And people were thinking that they will be losing certain jobs because of automation. But the situation shows that more and more jobs are created because of these innovations and because of this industry. Workplaces, the shape of workplace is changing, but it doesn't mean that people just started losing jobs. And yes, what is exactly clear about the future is that future will be related to innovation. And what kind of innovation we may have in the future. And I would like us to highlight like 3 dimensions of this. The first thing is robots are taking our jobs. Yeah, this is true. Certain jobs are already taken by robots. Automation is everywhere. And let me give you a real example from my career. I mentioned that I worked in Detal Aluminium. In Detal Aluminium, let me talk by numbers. We had 5K employees till 2008, 2009. But in 2009, the management decided to invite professionals from China, and we decided to buy like new equipment to do this automation of processes. Yes, we built a new factory, and we started operating in a new way. Do you guess what the number of employees after automation? 5K became only 400. 400 employees we employed in our new factory. So automation is part of the job. And artificial intelligence, actual artificial intelligence everywhere. In HR, in my industry, in my field, I can say that AI is doing some scoring, some screening of CVs, for example, in recruitment. Yes, AI can do maybe job interviews, but AI can do some shortlisting of the huge number of CVs. And let me show you some like evidence from media that I found. For example, in this picture, you can see that the doctor, is doing a surgery. And the helper, I would say, assistant of this doctor is robot. Robot and doctor, like robot and human beings, they're working together like in an integrated way. The next evidence in UAE, first autonomous drone delivery service. Actually, today is a weekend, today is a Saturday, at the perfect time for pizza and movie with your family. Imagine that you are ordering pizza and you receive a pizza delivery not by a human being, but you open your window and you see that the drone comes and you are paying, and yes, you're receiving your order. This is real. Now it is real. It is from 2017, by the way. 3 years ago. Hybrid taxi. Hybrid taxi, yes, it's a real. We have already, maybe it's not for massive now, but we already have it. From Los Angeles Times, again, 2017, robots, not immigrants, are taking Americans' jobs. Yes. We know that this problem, or maybe it's not a problem, but due to automation, specifically in the factories, in a huge factories, a certain part of value chain are done by robots. And the last one from Guardian, robots will destroy our jobs, and we are not ready for it. But the question here is different. I would say, are robots really going to replace human beings? How do you think? Are robots really going to replace human beings? I would say yes, and I would say no. Because there are certain jobs, yes, that computers are good at. And there are certain jobs that humans are good at. And I can't say that, for example, robots totally will replace human beings, or human beings can handle every job without help of robots. So it will be done more like integratedly with each other. Let's look at the jobs that really, or not jobs but tasks, yes, the robots are really good at. First of all, I would say automation, yes, because nowadays every organization, specifically organization in production industry, they try to make automation. Why? Because to shorten a value chain, yes, how the product or service is produced. So we really want to save time. We really want to make to be more efficient because of competition. We really need to provide high quality service and the fast service. So automation is really very helpful here. And robots are better in automation. Analytics. Different kind of analytics. Nowadays, we are living in an age of big data. And not to have an analytics in place, it will be kind of, I don't know, maybe shame for us. So analytics are something that really can be very, very helpful, and it's a business necessity right now. And robots can give us this. Reporting. I'm sure all of you are familiar with different kind of ERPs, like SAP, for example, yeah, SAP software. In SAP, in order to develop any kind of report, you need only like a few seconds, like 10 seconds or 1 minute, and your report is ready. Honestly, I would say that human beings do a lot of mistakes, and we say, oh, it's a human factor. I'm sorry, it was like typo mistake or anything. Robots, they don't do that. Scoring. What can we say about scoring? Let me give you an example from my job and from my experience, from my industry. Those who did recruitment, yes, you know that how many CVs you receive for one vacancy, like hundreds of CVs. And if you don't have a good helper here, in face of some artificial intelligence, robots, any programs, you will be bombarded with CVs. Every day you will be receiving hundreds of CVs, and those are not qualified, unfortunately. The scoring is really very well and very fastly, I would say, are done by robots. So those are the jobs and functions that are done better by robots. But let's look, what will AI bring to humans? Yes, it brings automation, it brings scoring, reporting, and all of this stuff. But what really can bring, what value it can bring? First of all, I would like to mention that streamlined process, again, automation. It's better process and short value chain. Less human bias. I know from my own experience that when you recruit a candidate, yes, you want this or not, maybe consciously or unconsciously, you do some bias. You have some human bias. Why this person entered the room like this? Why is this person wearing this? Why is this person is like nervous? A lot of kind of bias. Maybe because of name, maybe because of color, maybe because of nationality. All of these things are related to human bias. And AI gives us much less bias. Allows to invest time to more strategic aspects of our business. Let's agree that many times we say that, unfortunately, I don't have time to invest in my team. Unfortunately, I don't have time to be a mentor for my team. I need to focus more on strategic things and more on creative things, and I don't have time. Why? Because I need to do these mechanistic tasks. I need to do this like operational tasks. Now, AI provides us this. Now we have this luxury, and in the future we will have more and more of this luxury because of AI. So all, let's say, how better to say, maybe all like unnecessary, unwilling job will be done by robots. So what career competences will be really required in the future? I would say that I would divide these competences into two main categories. The first one is foundational knowledge, and then human-centric knowledge. So what is foundational knowledge? It's your technical skills, it's your technical knowledge, yes? Let's say you are a doctor, you are an engineer, you are a math teacher. Yes, you as a doctor, you need to know how to do these medical checkups, how to diagnose the disease, how to write a prescription, which medicine is right, is correct to take in certain situations. But without human-centric competences, you would not be considered as a good doctor. The good doctor also needs to know very well a human being psychology, I would say. The good doctor needs to know how to do communication with patient, how to deliver tough messages to the patients. Yes, we need to show our empathy. We need to be, how to say, emotionally intelligent. We need to understand how to build relationship with the people. So only foundational knowledge without human-centric competences, I would say that it will be like 50% of the job, and vice versa. Imagine that you have a very high, really, human-centric competences, but you are very poor in foundational knowledge. You will not be able to be a good doctor. So, to my opinion, and generally what I was observing through years, you need to have a certain elements to be a really highly competent professional. So, let's look at the 7 top human-centric competences. And I would like to underline the first one, the 7th one. It's emotional intelligence. Yes, emotional intelligence will remain very important competency. Why? Because we are working with human beings. We are not working only with robots. We are still human beings. Until the time we will remain a human beings, we will need emotional intelligence competency. We will need to show empathy to our colleagues, towards each other. We need to understand our emotions, and we will need it in the future. We need clearly to take a responsibility for our actions. And we really need to understand what motivates us as a human beings in order to motivate our teams as well. So emotional intelligence is a skill that, in spite of everything, that in spite of technology, will be necessary for the future as well. Number 6 competency is communication and storytelling. Yes, you can say that, wow, it's so modest, like communication, it is nothing new. But what I really want to underline that communication will change its shape. Yes, it will be different communication. And I think that communication will be more in a written form. For example, right now, how many of you are working remotely? I mean, in Azerbaijan, yes, maybe 80 or 90% of our employees are working on a remote basis. And for remote employees, you need to have a very good communication skills. So written communication now and in the future, it prevails. And I would say communication through social media is also will be very important, because social media like Facebook, LinkedIn, or maybe Instagram, the majority of communication is going through like written format. And why storytelling? Storytelling also will remain as a very important competency, because storytelling is something that keeps you engaged. Yes, that keeps your audience engaged, that helps you to visualize this. Because after certain years, after let's say 10 years, after 20 years, after 30 years, face-to-face communication will be less and less. And I think the best proof for this is global pandemics that we had. I remember even in March, in February, in April, I didn't met my team maybe for 3 months in person. And we did like video calls, but we did a lot of written communication. And in written communication, we miss intonation, we miss body language, we miss all these expressions, and only words are left. So we need to have a good imagination and to use our storytelling skills in order to communicate effectively. The 5th competency, creativity and imagination. So no one cancelled creativity. And creativity is again changing its shape. Yes? Creativity, by the way, is something that robots are like not aware about. They can be creative. They have strict scripts and nothing more. Have you seen like Sophia, the first like robot, yes, that looks like human being? I remember like 1 year ago, Sophia also came and traveled to Azerbaijan as well. And Sophia also met with our president as well. And a couple of days ago, I watched a video on YouTube. It was interview between Sophia and Tony Robbins. Honestly, I enjoyed this video very much. Sophia has like it's artificial intelligence, but looks like a woman, very like nice and fancy woman. And you know, she has a script, and because of the script, she is capable to answer the questions, and she has like machine learning as well. But what she is missing, creativity. I remember that Tony asked her some question from Sophia, and she was like stuck. You know, why? Because of imagination. Robots, they don't have imagination, they don't have creativity. And how is this competency may be useful for the future? Let's agree that nowadays we are in a very tough situation and we need to be creative. And I would associate this word with a very modern word right now, trending word, agile. Creativity. To be creative, to be agile, to be imaginative. So it depends on you how you will be solving your team's problems. You can look it straightforward and you can have only one perception about this, or you can, yes, you can look at the problem from different perspectives. So creativity is a competency that will be extremely useful for the future industry. Flexibility and adaptability. It's a very chaotic world. And again, to adapt to changes, and not only to adapt, but to adapt fastly, with very high speed, I would say. We need to adapt. Adaptability is very important. Let me give you a little bit funny example. A year ago, when I was teaching, I think it was SHRM class for my HR professionals, I was talking about, about telework, about online work, and my colleagues from Azerbaijan and from Bahrain, they said, Laura, I'm sorry, but in our culture, it will not work. We are not people who can be able to work on a remote basis. Honestly, I thought, why not? So if I can work from airports, from airplanes, from anywhere, why you can't adapt? They said, no, it's not, our culture is not letting this. We want personal connections, personal interactions, and all of this stuff. And honestly, when we had these pandemics, everyone adapted. Everyone adapted to this. Everyone said, yes, who wants to work, let's say, on a remote basis? Everyone raised a hand. Why? In order not to lose the job, you need to be flexible. You need to be adapt. You can say that I'm in this box and I'm not willing to change. Adaptability and flexibility. It's also one more important competency for the future. Yeah, leadership. Leadership will remain as one of the most top 3 competences for the future industries. But leadership will become even tougher. It will be very tough to be a leader. Why? Because imagine that you are working in a very, I would say, volatile, very complex world. You are working and leading in a world with global risks. Risks like pandemics, risks like depression, a lot of different kind of risks. And you need to be here, I would say, more transformative. And transformative leaders, they will be like really thriving. You need to be transformative in terms of your human wisdom, in terms of your creativity, and I would say in terms of your intuition. You need to be able to be a leader yourself, to lead by example, and to, again, flexibility. Whatever we told today, yes, about like different kind of competences like flexibility, adaptability, this leadership style, from transformative leadership, needs to combine all of these competences, all in one. So number 2 competency is data literacy. Yes, data literacy. Again, we are working and we are living in a big data era. And I would say the fuel, again, I'm just underlining this, a fuel of new industry is big data. And we are massively like bombarded by big data. We have like a massive explosion of this big data. And if you don't know how to use this data, it will be like nothing for you. It will be useless for you. And in order really to use this big data properly, in order to help, let's say, for you to make any business decisions, you need to have this data literacy. And of course, you need to understand, so what kind of data, how it needs to be combined, stored, and how it can help to increase your business. And number one, extremely important competency that really will be useful for the future. And I would like you also maybe to write it on a chat box, what you think, your own opinion about the number one competency is tech savviness. Tech savviness. In an age and an industry of technology, yes, what is the most important? Of course, it is tech savviness. Tech savviness because, again, 3D printing, yes, artificial intelligence, robotics. So we are working and operating in this environment. We, for example, develop a new skill, and this new skill is becoming out of date after 2-3 years. We need clearly to understand what technology, how it develops, yes, how those technologies are interconnected with each other, what kind of maybe programs can be very useful for our work, what are our trends in terms of technology in our industry. We need to have this technical knowledge in order to succeed in our works. I remember maybe 15 years ago or 10 years ago, no, not 10 years ago, maybe 15 or 20 years ago, in Azerbaijan, we had a position named computer operator. I don't know how about India, but in Azerbaijan, it was very popular to have computer operator. And when I was even like 15 years ago, I was going to labor career fairs, people were entering and asking, do you have a computer job? Do you have any computer job? And I was extremely nervous. Do you know why? Because I was like trying to explain them that nowadays every job is computer job. Like there is no job without computer. Even if you are PA, you are doing these appointments on computer. Even if you are a doctor, you also do notes and everything is on computer. If you are office employee, yes, in a corporate roles, engineer, accountant, HR, everything is in computer. So now there is no position like computer operator. Now everyone is computer operator. And in the future, if currently nowadays, yes, today, for example, only a few of us is going through these trends, reading some literature about artificial intelligence, for example, about general technology, in the future, everyone needs to have this technical knowledge. And let me give you one more example. Social media, yes, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. I personally use YouTube and I personally use LinkedIn a lot. And imagine that you would like to communicate with your audience and you don't know how to post a video on YouTube, how to use LinkedIn properly. You will be stuck. At certain point, you will be stuck because you will not be able to go forward in your career. You will be falling backward, but you will not be falling forward. So we need clearly to have all of these tools. For example, language barrier shouldn't be a barrier for us, or technology barrier, again, shouldn't be a barrier for us. Everyone needs to be able to use technology. I have a grandma and she's 90 years old and she's using a mobile phone. Really, she doesn't have a Facebook profile, but she's very good at using mobile phone. So this is evidence that we as a human beings, we have an adaptability skills and we really have a technical knowledge as well. At the end of my presentation, I would like to leave you with one maybe key message or maybe takeaway message with one thought. So today, yes, we, in spite of everything, in spite of these challenging and tough times globally, yes, we're very optimistic about the future. We're still looking forward for new normal. this new normal, it will be totally different that we used to have before. Yesterday, me and my team member, we went to the business meeting in State Oil Fund, and it was really fun to have. It was my second meeting, like real face-to-face meeting after pandemics. I was wearing masks, she was wearing masks. Everyone was like sitting in a big room, and we were keeping distance like 2-3 meters between us. All business advices that we need in order to have this interaction, we need to be able to sit next to each other. So everything like crashed, collapsed. And in spite of everything, we are very optimistic about the future. We are very dedicated to innovation. We are very adaptable. And why? Because in order to survive, in order to thrive, we need to be adaptable. And we really try to keep this team spirit. We need to be leaders, yes, because we are interacting with human beings, not with machines. And we're really committed to success. Everyone's performance is high right now. And in the future, you will see that everyone is performing good, especially Generation Z. Are you familiar with them? They are really like, wow, they're very clever, they're very smart, they're very demanding. And Generation Z, they're really committed to success, to do it or die it. And imagine in this very competitive world, you will have only one thing to differentiate yourself from the crowd, from the audience. Do you know what is this? This is you. This is you. The only thing and space which is left to differentiate yourself from any other, I would say, people, this is you. Your secret ingredients, and I would say your specific human-centric competencies that you really need to develop and adapt in your workplace. Thank you.